Okay, so we're back and we have our face reveal. This is what I look like. Let's get that out of the way. This is episode 4 of PuckPod by BD Sports, our premier NHL podcast. I'm here with Cristian and David. You guys know who they are at this point. How was your week, boys?
David on first.
Um, yeah, I mean, pretty long. I was helping my dad with some stuff this week, like with we took him out, we took him to the hospital the other day to get his staples removed. So that was an event in itself, and just a couple different things. Still working. What about you, Christian?
Pretty busy week as well. As I was just telling you a couple minutes before we got on, this is the first week in, I think, honestly, the Matthews era where I missed portions of every Leaf game in a week. So had a lot of catching up to do. But as a wise Russian philosopher once said, I got some smile this week. So yeah, it was a good week.
Who said that? I
Sorry,
wonder who.
sorry, what was the quote? Who's that
Wise Russian
philosopher, Christian?
philosopher, man.
I know who said it. Don't worry. Yeah, for those of you who don't know, it was Ilya Samsonov. Anyway, so my week was pretty good. Worked, enjoyed a bit of the weather today in the GTA. If you guys didn't know, if you guys aren't in the GTA, we had gorgeous weather. We're recording this on Sunday night, just as it's slowly ending, but it's still 20 degrees outside, which is amazing for Toronto, especially in October.
Yeah, and end of October too.
Yeah, yeah. It's getting
I was
like
able to actually do some barbecue lunch today. Like I was really surprised. Yeah,
you guys like
That's pretty good.
your grill still up.
I had to take the cover off. I think we had it ready to go into hibernation, but I was like, no, it's too nice. I'll throw these sausage on the barbecue, and it turned out pretty good.
Not bad.
I, I think we're throwing ours in the shed next week.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
No, I
getting
mean
it's getting
probably the
cold.
last.
It's
Yeah, like around the Halloween time.
I honestly I don't expect this weather to last for more than another like we'd be lucky to get another week of sunshine before October comes. Because usually Halloween is when it gets starts getting really cold, based on
hmm
like you know
There's like snow on Halloween. Yeah.
I swear, like the last 5, 6 years on Halloween, it's either been raining, like hail, or like a type of like snow. What did I say? Or like a snow, yeah, like a
Yeah.
flurry or something like that. I swear, like every year for the past 5, 6 years, it's been like that. It's been
Well, I'm
crazy.
all west. I think Huberto was saying. I think it snowed in Calgary like a couple days ago. So we're lucky
Yeah,
compared to out west. Yeah.
you better get used to that weather because it's not going to be fun over
It's
there
not
for.
Sunrise, Florida for Hubie over there.
Oh yeah.
speaking of snow, I know a city that doesn't get any snow. It's Vancouver.
Ooh.
Okay, that I didn't intend to
It's some snow, man. You get some snow.
nah, not a lot, but
It's just normally gloomy over there. It
very
might be a
gloomy.
little bit, might be a little extra gloomy after the past couple weeks in Vancouver. All you Canucks fans, if you want to write down your things in our comments here, maybe some obituaries in our comments for this team, man. Not looking good right now.
To be fair, I still think it's early this season for them, and yeah, but that's not looking too good. And also, the Caps' best game of the season was against Vancouver, and that was played earlier this week, so we're definitely gonna talk about that. But ironically enough, the good writers over at Russian Machine Never Breaks, they had a weird stat. It was like when Bruce Boudreau got sacked by the Capitals, they lost 5-1 to Buffalo. Who did they lose 5-1 to last night?
History repeats itself, or as the reverse retro slogan goes, what was it? History never repeats itself.
Yeah,
Lies,
history
lies,
never
and
repeats.
marketing
That's false.
stinks.
I'm a Leaf fan. I saw history 3 years in a row. Game 7 every year. That's false.
Yes. So, Brian, it is a good stat, but I mean, no, it is a good stat because it shows that that slogan there is a pile of crap. So, history did repeat itself. Bruce Boudreau now with the Canucks. Yeah, I mean, we're talking about the weather and what it's like in Vancouver. I don't know if it's raining or snowing. Instead of maybe throwing jerseys on the ice, you guys could just put them over your heads, and then you'll keep dry that way. That was interesting. Not interesting to see. Like, I mean, predictable. And should be talking as a Leafs fans. We've had our fair share of jersey tosses on the ice, even in seasons where we made the playoffs. Like, I swear it happens like once a year just for like one bad game. So, yeah, I mean, Terrible start. Still don't have a win. Don't have a one in the win column yet. I feel like it all revolves around JT Miller from whatever I read. Like I'm not seeing quotes from the captain of the team, Bo Horvat. I'm not getting quotes from Besser or Pedersen or Quinn Hughes. I swear everything I read is either from Boudreaux or from Miller. It's weird. I don't know if you guys have noticed that too. Not saying like it means anything or has any significance, but that's just something I've noticed. Like it's just been Miller quotes and Boudreaux quotes that I've seen. Have you guys seen that too, or just me?
I agree with you with that. I also think that Horvat is going to get traded soon. Genuinely.
Well, yeah, that's been talk going back to last year that the idea was you have to choose one of Miller or Horvat. There's even been talk I remember last year about them butting heads like that. They're kind of on opposites, not opposite sides of the dressing room, but I think they're just both vocal guys, part of the leadership group, and maybe they don't see eye to eye. It'll be interesting to see how that unfolds. But yeah, that's something I know I noticed. Dave, how about you?
I don't know if I've ever said it on this podcast, but I always thought them naming Bo Horvat as captain was a little bit too rash, in my opinion. Um, he might have the leadership qualities in the dressing room, but I personally have never seen him as that C material guy. Um, now especially that you've got the younger guys like Pedersen coming in, Hughes coming in, even older guys like JT Miller there, who's been around for a while. I know Miller kind of like really started to shine last year and into the year before. But I've personally never seen it with Horvat. He's no, let's go down the list. Like they've had some really wicked captains in Vancouver, man. Trevor Linden for a long time, Daniel Sedin, even it was Henrik for the long time. It was Henrik and Daniel was the A. You could have interchanged the two of them. Like those two guys are stable leaders there. I think before that, I believe Marcus Naslund was a captain for a while there. Like those are four franchise leading players. Bo Horvat for me doesn't even touch any four of those guys and doesn't even touch some of the guys on the team right now in terms of talent and in terms of leadership quality. I've always, I've never really liked the decision to. I feel like they just threw Horvat to the wolves. I don't know if you guys feel the same way.
When I even think of the Canucks, I don't even think of Horvat. He's like the fifth guy I think about on that team. Because like obviously, for some reason I think about Demko. For some reason, like I think about Quinton Hughes. Elias Pettersson's obviously up there, and JT Miller's really made a name for himself in the past few years. The reason I think he's gonna get traded is simply because he just seems like he's just there. He doesn't seem like from a neutral perspective, he's not really an impact guy like one of the big guys like Pettersson at all times. I mean, I don't think he's not great or a good player. It just the identity of the team is just not with him anymore, in my opinion. And it's crazy because if you think about how he was even a part of the Canucks, that's a whole era in itself. If you guys didn't know, Bo Horvat was drafted by the Canucks in 2013 with New Jersey's pick, in which they acquired by trading Corey Schneider. Like Corey Schneider and that Luongo era, it seems like that was a thing for like 5-6 years, and the fact that he's the last legacy piece of that is ridiculous to me, and it just doesn't seem right in my opinion. I think they should definitely look into a change of scenery or something or anything for that team.
I think you can trace a lot of the stuff that we're talking about here back to the pandemic season, the bubble season, right? It skewed everyone's perception of the Vancouver Canucks because I believe they were one of the lower ranked teams going into the bubble, but they had such a strong showing in the playoffs, right? I think they knocked off St. Louis, right? So
they made it to the second round, or did they make it to the conference?
Second round. So
second round, right?
Clearly, like Horvat was a big part of that. He was a playoff performer. I remember watching and him scoring like he probably had like 6 or 7 goals in those two series there, maybe even more. He was really impressive. But you can just look at the whole roster there and how that season really changes the perspective on Vancouver. And maybe to some degree, it still influences even this new regime's decisions that look back at that season, there's something here. This is a good core. We need to build on it instead of reset or make removals from the core, right? So I don't know. Personally, I do like Horvat. I think he's perfectly placed in Vancouver in terms of his role. Like you look at what they do. Right now they've been rolling like the three center juggernaut where it's like you have Miller on one line, Horvat on another, and Pedersen on the other. That's incredible. What other team can throw out those three talented centers or three centers of that talent? I honestly don't know if there is one. So that's something very unique that they've got there. Now that I think about it, Edmonton could technically do it if they want to do McDavid, Draisaitl, RNH. But besides the point, they have great offensive capabilities, and we knew that about Vancouver, and that's not what the problem has been with the start of their season. It is the defense. You can point to Demko as well. I think the save percentage is like 870 something, so he hasn't been Vezina caliber like he was last year. And let's not forget, last year they weren't too good either. They weren't too hot out of the gate with Travis Green, but Demko was keeping them afloat. That's not happening so far this year. But yeah, you definitely trace it back to the defense right now. They basically only have a left side of defense, even when they're fully healthy, right? You got Quinn Hughes, you've got OEL, Travis Dermott, and the right side is where they really need to shore it up. Tyler Myers, he is a minute eater, but it's debatable. Probably depends on your view, what you think of the impact he's making in those minutes. You've got Luke Shen, underrated guy, probably best suited in a bottom 60 role, but he's probably been elevated into the lineup. You've got guys, and we have the Quinn Hughes injury now, and you have guys being elevated from outside of the top six into the top six. Jack Rathbone, Kyle Burrows, not household names. So it's been a recipe for disaster so far in Vancouver.
Just against us, I don't think that is the defense that was the problem. It looks like they just checked out.
It is mental too. You're right. Yeah, no, 100%. How do you get a lead in 4 straight games, multi-goal lead in 4 straight games, and manage to choke it? That's
like that, like a snap of a finger. It evaporates so quick.
Genuinely, as soon as I think those second period, that was when that's when it turned around. They played much better than us, or third period or something like that. Whenever the period started where it turned around, they were playing much better than us up to that point. Then all of a sudden, snap, we're just dominating the whole game, and we just take over, and that's it. I don't know what to say.
I don't think anyone in the Vancouver organization knows the answer. Not even Boudreau. I think Boudreau had a quote after last night where he's like, "I don't know what's going on. We played 2 periods of great hockey, and I don't know what happened," or something to that effect. If you don't know the answer as the coach, you at least got to BS your way to saying, "I believe in these guys." We go into the room and we look at each other and say, "This is a team that can win." I haven't heard any of that. Those quote unquote hockey terms being thrown around, and they've been brutally honest with their quotes. Perhaps too far. Perhaps they're too real, being too realistic about how they're playing. Maybe they just gotta lie to themselves and say, "Hey guys, we can get out of this hole." And maybe fake it till you make it, right?
Well, they definitely have the talent, right? Yeah. We mentioned it before. They're on paper. They might honestly be one of they definitely have to be in the top 10 for the most talent on the roster, top to bottom. But like you said before, Cristian, look at that defense. Name me off their top 3 left-sided defensemen again.
Yeah, we got Quinn Hughes, who's
okay.
No got any problems with Quinn Hughes. OEL, who people do.
No, but the one point I was going to make, so we're going to read them off again. Quinn Hughes, OEL, Travis Dermott. Mm-hmm. We know Travis Dermott for his time in Toronto. Mm-hmm. We've also seen OEL through a neutral lens playing in Arizona, which never had enough coverage, and we've seen enough of Quinn Hughes. None of those guys are able to play defense that great. Okay, so already if your best side on defense is your left side, in terms of talent, and they can't even play defense, what does that say about the rest of your right side? You know what I mean? Guys, you could check in, you could check out, but listen, I'll say it now. I was watching the overtime against the Wild. And the whole, like, whoever was on, I know JT Miller was on the ice, and I forget the other two players. It could have been anybody on the ice. I'll be honest with you. They they just caved in. They let Demko just get absolutely peppered with shots. I think Kaprizov, who scored the OT winner, had 3 chances before the goal went in, and they couldn't clear it. They couldn't even touch the puck. They didn't even look like they wanted to touch the puck. There's something completely like just wrong and amiss, and maybe that goes to the captaincy. I don't think it goes as I don't think it's like Bruce Boudreau was at the center of a lot of the talk for a lot of people. I don't know how you guys feel on that, but I don't think it's Boudreau either. Like it was the same stuff was happening with Travis Green. You fire the coach and you bring in Boudreau, and you get that jolt of life last season, and you're in the hunt for the playoffs, but you're not quite there. Your early season woes really hampered your chances to make the playoffs, and they didn't make it. So now, if you're going to start this season, last night they lost an embarrassing loss to the Sabres, 5-1 on paper, but that's your home opener, guys. Like, come on, like you gotta give the fans something to cheer about. You guys are winless in 7, blown multi-goal leads, but you guys want to make the playoffs? You want to make top 3? Are you guys out of your minds right now?
It's
Like,
fixable. It's still early.
it's fixable. Brian,
It's
they missed
fixable.
the playoffs last year by almost 10 points.
It's
That's 14 points they've
based
thrown away now.
based on what I saw when we played them. They played much better than us up until the point where they didn't. They were winning the game up until the point where they weren't. If they can
That's the
figure
problem, right?
if they can figure out how to sustain that for 60 minutes, or even 49, or even 59, right? Or even 59 minutes, they will make the playoffs. They just have to get that. They have to check in mentally. Maybe it's a lack of killer instinct, or maybe it's a lack of leadership. I don't know what happened in the dressing room, but I still think that they're a decent team. They're actually playing very nice,
Well,
Yeah.
they've called it personnel problems. It's
and I
been
believe
personnel problems.
and I
You
believe that's
brought
the
in
problem.
you bring in Jim Rutherford to replace Jim Benning because this is Jim Benning's team. You didn't change that many people in this past offseason. I don't know if they thought maybe Boudreaux could get the most out of these guys, but this it's relatively apart from the additions of Ilya Mikheyev. I don't think Kyle Burrows, or I know Rathbone played a lot of last season, especially by the end. Not Burrows, that's a name that his name shouldn't be important. You know what I mean? Those guys in the depth roles shouldn't be as important, but the makeup of the team it's almost carbon copy of last season, but you added Ilya Mikheyev in the offseason. Like,
It's
listen,
interesting.
I'm having a hard
Yeah.
pardon?
It's interesting you bring that up, just like the additions from last season. Jim Rutherford had a quote, I think it was might have been yesterday, where they asked him about addressing the defense, and he's like, "We tried addressing the defense in the summer." And you think, and you're like, well, how did you do that? Travis Dermott, and they made a trade like right before the season started for Riley Stillman, who once again should not be in your top 6. Like that's addressing the defense. Um,
I don't even think Travis Dermott should go higher than like but that bottom pairing is probably like best suited for him, right? But now you're kind of forcing with the injury to Hughes, and I know injuries happen, but you're now kind of throwing him higher up the lineup.
Dermott is injured as well, so they're missing both those
Oh,
guys.
there you go.
Yeah, like once again, like you got to be healthy to play. Like that doesn't help their odds either. But you also have like Noah Juleson is in the lineup. Like we just named half of a D core right there. Not core, but half of a top 6 from game to game is Noah Juleson, Jack Rathbone, Kyle Burrows, and you're missing Quinn Hughes. So like it's tough to win games like that.
I think that they can still turn it around. Genuinely, they're in the weakest division in the league. It's definitely doable. We've seen teams turn it around. You gotta remember, it's only October. I don't think you should be lighting anything on fire, burning any bridges now, or anything like that. But what I could say is that a team this talented should have it figured out. If it happens to be a killer instinct thing, that's nothing fixable. You know, at that point, just mental. They're doing everything right
So
on the
Brian,
ice up until a point where they're not. Yeah.
Brian, what happens this year when it it's April, the end of April, game 81, game 82. They're out of it. They're 10 points adrift from the playoffs. What happens? Where do they go from here? I know you have your young talent, but man, this is now it's going to be 2 years in a row where you should realistically be finishing in where you want to realistically be finishing in those top three positions. You have your goalie of the future. You have your center of the future, potentially someone who could change the game on a dime Elias Pettersson.
They have a future Norris center
Like
on their team too.
they could. That's another thing as well, right? Where do they go from here? Do they keep going like this? Do you run back into the wall? Do you run this team out again? I don't know if they can. They're locked into the OEL contract. They're locked into an absolutely atrocious Tyler Myers contract. I know we mentioned him before, Cristian. That's another guy that he can't play. From in my money, that guy can't play offensively. He can't play defensively. That guy's just out on the ice on a free skate most of the time.
Watch his minutes, and it's up for debate. What do you think he's doing in those minutes, right? So,
Listen, I just want everybody who's listening to this podcast, everybody on this podcast, to remember when Bryan said, and I respect your opinion, Bryan. Like, don't take this the wrong way, but I'm still not fully convinced in the Vancouver Canucks. They have the pieces there. They definitely do. There's something there. I whether it's Bo Horvat's leadership that's the problem, whether maybe it's Bruce Boudreau's leadership that's the problem. For all I know, I'm not there, right? But from what that's just what I could see, and that was my prediction coming in, or at least my prediction to counter your prediction, Bryan. But I don't know, man. It's a lot worse than what I thought what they were gonna look like, though. 100%. I think we could agree with that.
Oh yeah, 100%.
right. Let's move slightly up the standings. And you said how we had a game between the Canucks and Caps. Let's go from the Canucks to the Caps. What did your lovely Caps do this week? If you could let everybody know.
I'll go over the Canucks game briefly. I'll just go over my notes. Ovechkin had 2 goals, 2 assists. I always get to say Ovechkin scores because he's slowly chasing that goal record. The Canucks definitely collapsed in the third. I did have a statement saying I do think that Bruce Boudreau will get fired if this continues. I think that, we could all agree that at a 0-win start, what are we, 7 games in the season, 6 games in the season? It's not ideal,
Yeah.
right? And Canucks fans are passionate. I think they'll be calling for Boudreau's head soon. I'll give them 3 more games for that one. I also wanted to shout out Elias Pettersson because not only did he have a fantastic game against us, Connor Brown actually got hurt, right? And in the middle of the game, Elias Pettersson just stopped playing and just picked him up and brought him to our bench. Got to shout him out for that because, on opposite teams, it's not your responsibility to do that, especially on the highest level. But if you see somebody on the floor crawling, trying to get to the bench, and you're able to help him, there's a little bit of respect there. You don't see that often. And you probably wouldn't have seen it in the playoffs. I'll be honest. I don't expect that to happen in the sense that, you're more focused on the game. It's more serious. But in the sense that it's a regular season game and you're willing to do that for somebody, shows that, you have good character. You're definitely going to do something one day in your career, Pettersson. And then I also said that Vancouver has gotten worse since the Caps game. They've played, I think, 2 or 3 games since playing us, and they've lost all of them. And what I can say is that, I think it's still too early to be truly, truly worried. Just give them some time; they'll figure it out. They're too good on paper not to figure it out. That's the way I think about this, at least. And that's all I have on the Vancouver game. Oh, Vancouver right now.
Can you guys tell who the pessimistic Leaf fan is and who the optimistic Caps fan is? I'm calling over here. Sky is burning. The sky's falling down. Brian's like, okay, guys, it's only 7 games. Like, you guys could get back on track. There's still 70 plus there.
Realistically, it's only roughly 9-10% of the season, right? 9-10% of the season is not that bad considering all you need to do is steal games off teams against your division. If they win 5 in a row, 2 OT losses, they're back in it. That's the way I see it. Especially in that division, right? You're not playing the Metro. You're not playing in the Atlantic where like, every point matters. You're playing.
Realistically, who's their opposition right now? I think we can pretty confidently say that Calgary and Vegas look like the class of the division. Edmonton is nipping at their heels, like they're not that far behind. So those are already the three divisional spots taken care of. So now you're looking at the wild card. You're not only competing with the Pacific, you are competing with the Central. And this is coming as someone who was high on Vancouver going into the season. So you're looking at LA, possibly Seattle. We'll see. They're probably more of a sleeper. But then you're dealing with any of the teams that don't get the divisional spots in the Central. Could be any of St. Louis, Dallas, Minnesota, Nashville. Like those are good teams. I don't necessarily know based off of what we've seen so far or based off of
You can't write a
rather
team off though 10% of the season. I just think that's way too early.
I don't know, right? Like I'm just trying to size them up against their competition, and from what we've seen, and even just going down that defense core there, and you line them up against the defense cores of those other teams. I think the conclusion we're coming to is that it's a roster thing. I feel it's specifically the defensive core needs to be improved,
I'm
and it's
telling you,
probably got to
I'm telling you, they
great.
were good up until the point where they just choked against us. Like maybe I'm holding them to a higher standard because they played well against us, but based on what I
Brian,
saw, nothing to be worried
choking in
about.
what way are they choking? Defensively, holding a lead, defensive structure,
They
being too
shell.
right?
I
Exactly.
mean,
And what are these types of players that are shelling in their zone? They're collapsing it tight. It's most likely like I wonder what the numbers say, but I have a feeling that Kyle Burrows and Jack Rathbone I think only played the one game yesterday, but
Kyle
these
Burrows
guys are
played against us.
okay. And
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't
He had a
know
specific
positive,
incident against
but
you guys.
But
yeah.
no, I don't know. Like we've seen teams turn it around like before. I don't think we should write anybody off right now. The panic button should be hit December 1st, if anything. Like that's like the window where you're 25% into the season.
I think that's too late, Brian. I'll be honest with you. I think panic button's starting to be opened up right now. If we got the red button, in the movies, I think right now the key's in the hole. We're unlocking it and we're opening up that box. We're not pushing it just yet, but our hands hovering over there, Brian. Like again, I mentioned it before. They missed last year by I believe it was
Sizable.
like 8 to 10 points. Eight, dude, 0-5-2 right now. That's 7 games, 14 points up for grabs, and you grab two of them.
I get it. I get it. Like
And you also have we mentioned you also mentioned before the or sorry, Christian, you mentioned before the class of the Pacific, right? Edmonton maybe isn't starting as hot as they wanted to. Jack Campbell's looked a little bit fluky, but are we gonna go against McDavid, Draisaitl, Nuge, Big Daddy Zachary over there? Like you have to also overcome them as well, like in order to make it into that top three. Like
you guys make it seem like these teams are like insanely good. Like, I don't know. They're not the cream of the
oh,
crop of the league at all. No,
Edmonton's not good with McDavid, and
I think Edmonton is good. I think Calgary is great, but I don't think Vegas and Edmonton are in the cream of the crop of the league. I don't even think they're close to that.
well, they don't have to be cream of the crop of the league. They just have to be cream of the crop of the division, Brian.
They do, and
That's
if
the that's the point we're
Edmonton
trying
were
to
to
make.
steal some points off them later into the season, I don't see why they can't catch up. Like they only need to get top three in that division.
That's going to be tough. It's
It's
going to be really
it's
tough.
definitely an uphill battle at this point, but they could. I'm sure they can figure it out. I'm not. I think it's too early to write them off, man. Genuinely.
Is it too early to write off the Caps, Brian?
Soon. We're not looking too good. Connor Brown suffered an injury, like I said earlier today. That's another top six, well, middle six ish, top nine winger. Sometimes he could, I don't know, wherever he fits in. But regardless, that's another big loss. We have the depth to cover it. Snively, we have Connor Michael, who got scratched again last night by Laviolette. I don't know what's going on with this team. If you guys read my article, I did suggest that we play Strome on the wall, so we could have two solid shots. Laviolette did listen to me, but he still kept a screen with Marcus Johansson behind the net. I don't know what that's doing there. It should be Oshie in front of the net instead of playing in the high slot. And if you want to play a screen, just play Mantha. He's left-handed too. I don't know what's going on with this team in regards to that. Blaine Forsyth, please, 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 please figure something out. This guy's eventually not going to score 50 goals this season if he doesn't have the power play on his side. It's just not going to happen. And Laviolette also did do a 1-3-1 neutral zone against Vancouver and against Ottawa. I'm not a fan of that, especially for an offensive team. I get it, we're slowing down, and I get it, you want to try to sustain the puck and slow down the play a little bit, be a little bit more defensive, but I don't know. I'm not a fan of what this team's looking like this season already. And Kemper,
I don't know. I feel like going into the season, like, even me, I was kind of optimistic about the Caps. Like, just looking at their roster on paper, I liked what I saw. Honestly, obviously the Brown injury does change that, but if it's like we said, if it's too early for Vancouver, at least in Bryan's words, then it's definitely too early to write off the Caps. Anything on Kemper specifically, Bryan, or just because I don't think I've heard anything on Kemper since the game one shellacking.
he hasn't done anything spectacular, and he's just been average, But the
Hasn't
thing,
stole you any games, but he hasn't lost to any games single-handedly other than
yeah,
game one.
I wouldn't say like he's cost us anything. If anything, it's been a little bit of a shaky defense. But in regards to Kemper specifically, I thought he was gonna be a little bit better than what he was. I thought he was gonna be at least like great. I don't think, but right now he's just decent, like right on the line. I mean, we'll
Hmm.
probably. I'm not worried of getting in the playoffs. That's not my concern. It's just where do we go from here, right? Because if we have an aging, decent goalie for the next 3, 4 years, wherever the contract is, and then we're only getting worse as a team because we're aging, it's not going to be looking too good if we don't get some young blood into there, get some new faces into the roster. And going back to the Brown injury, we have the wing depth. I'm not concerned about that. I mean, Snively comes in, right? We have McMichael that should have came in, and then we have Protus that would possibly come out if Brown comes back in. These are these are guys that make every NHL team in the league, basically. I mean,
Joe
So
Snively's on every team, eh?
I think
Damn.
so.
even the Leafs?
I won't pretend that I know everything about Joe Snively, so I won't.
For for a bottom for a fourth line, yeah, I think it gets in. Like I said,
Fair enough.
like at the beginning of the season, like our wingers are stacked. Like, I mean, look, we have two guys out that also make every single top six in the league. In in uh in Connor Brown and well, not top six with Connor Brown, top nine in Connor Brown, and Tom Wilson gets into every single top six in the league, genuinely, right? If
To
these
Yeah,
me,
guys
for sure.
if these guys are out and like we're still having depth, that's not the main problem. I just think it's strategy. I think it's we're missing something. We're missing. I think it's probably coaching. I'll be honest. I don't want to see Laviolette in this team for too much longer.
So
what's
Bryan, on the sorry, Christian, on the McMichael front, like what's going on
Send him
there? Like I
down.
know you kind of glossed over it. Like, is there a specific reason why he's being scratched? Like, has anything come out,
It's Laviolette
or
specifically
is it?
known to be a defensive coach, right? Focus on defense. Like Michael, he has struggled defensively in the past, but you can see his talent. You can see that the quality is there. I think that at this point, just send him down to Hershey. There's no point in rotting him on the bench, rotting him scratched for no reason when he could be getting first line minutes in Hershey. I mean, this guy's a good player. Everybody knows what he's capable of. He's guaranteed to be top six if we just manage his career properly. It's just a matter of when do we ship him off to New Jersey for a washed up second liner? Like, when is that gonna happen? I, I just I don't like where this is going. Russian Machine Never Break had a list of players that we've given up from our first 2 rounds or something like that, and the list was longer than I wanted it to be. I looked at it was basically a paragraph, And these guys that we give up do well on other teams. Samsonov, for example, you guys love him apparently. I don't want to talk too much about that. Siegenthaler had ridiculous stats last season with New Jersey.
Nate Schmidt.
Like, when is this going to start
Nate
hurting
Schmidt.
us? It's getting to that point.
Mm-hmm.
So if we sit him down, let him grow, let him get some first line minutes over in Hershey, let him develop his talent, then call him up when he's ready when Eller gets shipped out.
Lots of hot takes, Brian. Lots of hot takes. I mean, I think another week of Caps hockey will maybe make the picture a little clearer one way or another. Either you'll be in full meltdown, or we'll be back to normal, being like, yeah, Caps pretty good. Yeah, Michael got into.
I knew we weren't going to be too hot going into the season, right? Like
I don't think guys.
I wasn't too big. I wasn't too big on our team this season. I wasn't like, I don't know. I just had I had lower expectations than I usually did. Usually my expectations just smash the division by like 10 points. But this season I was thinking like third, fourth. I'll be okay with that. Just get into the playoffs and we'll see. But I don't know, man. This is hard. I don't like being like third, fourth in the division.
It seemed, Brian, that the vibes are not good in Washington because maybe you removed some of the good vibes, and he made his way to Toronto. Those good vibes, like you mentioned. I mean,
He likes to smile.
Caps land, another week in Leaf land, and it was pretty eventful there.
Before we get into before we get into the Leafs talk, I just want to say I did miss the Caps game against the Kings. I watched the first period and then I turned off my TV after we went down 0-2. But I went out, okay? And then but in regards to the Ottawa game, Jake Sanderson, fantastic player. You are fantastic. And Cristian froze.
Yeah.
And then in regards to their power play for Ottawa, well, maybe one of the best in the league. They look very fluid against us, and hopefully they continue it. We collapsed after dominating in the first, but it's okay. We'll figure it out. All right, we are back from our little break. We were having some technical issues. We were just getting into the Leafs talk. I'll let you guys take it away. Take it away, Dave.
All right. So I said to Bryan during our little technical difficulty talk, if we had recorded this podcast Monday night, Tuesday morning, ooh, man, this segment could have been an hour at least. I had personally quite a few takes to come off of that absolutely brutal display against Arizona. As the rest of the week went on, though, a win against Dallas, they kind of looked a little bit shaky to start out, and then Nick Robertson scored, and then he scored again in overtime. Absolutely, like soul lifting overtime winner. Like that thing is like hang that up, at the Robertson Thanksgiving dinner this year, because brother versus brother game. Yesterday night,
let me just intrude to this. Sorry, I will admit, just that you can't make that storyline up. You can't. Brother versus brother. The older brother just gets paid the offseason before. He's walking into that Thanksgiving like a 7 millionaire, and then he's facing his younger brother or whatever for the first time. They're facing each other, and his brother pops 2 goals and the OT winner on him. You can't make that up right before Thanksgiving. Or can you?
Fantastic.
Oh my goodness. Anyway,
That's
sorry.
good.
Go.
Yeah, no, and then so I'll say it as well. I also wasn't able to watch last night's game against the Jets. I was out for dinner. I know the guys in this thing, they went out clubbing. It's okay. You know what, guys? Anytime, it's all good. But I did watch the highlights after, and I was relatively impressed from what I saw. I saw a lot of fight. Cristian, how good does it feel to beat the Winnipeg Jets? Don't we love beating the Winnipeg Jets, guys?
Is there anything better, Dave? What's better than beating the Jets? I don't know, man. I don't know.
There's nothing better. There's nothing better.
First round win, a second round, like none of those things.
Nothing's better. Yeah. Not even a Stanley Cup. Only the Winnipeg Jets. Beating them anytime we play them in the regular season. For everybody that's unaware, last season there was a very tightly and testy affair between the Leafs and the Jets, which the Jets ended up winning 6-3, I believe. Jason Spezza got thrown out of that game and was suspended for a handful of games after that. It was just a not great scene after that game. And then to add insult to injury, a video came out of the Jets. You know, they were listen. I'm going to say this as a non-biased Leaf fan. I completely understand. Everybody hates the Leafs. Like, there's no, like, I get it. I get it. Bryan hates us. The Caps fans, doesn't matter. Everybody else hates us. I get it. But it's just a really bad look, you know, after you win the game. And you guys could celebrate whatever, but then cameras do catch. Who was it, Cristian? Was it Neil Pionk? It could have been Mark Scheifele. I don't remember who said it.
Last year was Scheifele.
Was it Scheifele? And one of the quotes was, how good does it feel? Or is that, what was it? Like, what's better than beating the Leafs? That was the exact quote, right? And they had subtitles and everything. You get screen grabs of that. Oh my God. That's Twitter meme perfection right there, right? I get it. And I could tell this game, you kind of knew going in. That was the last meeting of the Leafs and the Jets, and you could tell going into this game, we brought back up Kyle Clifford. We brought Wayne Simmons back into the fold. Sheldon Keefe was ready to go into battle against the Jets. I'm not too sure if the Jets were really up for it to start the game. As the game went on, you know, you could tell things were starting to get a bit testy. Definitely not out of hand like last year. I'll say it. We didn't have this podcast last year. I'll say it. What Spezza did last year was definitely crossing the line and something that needs to be taken out of the game 100%. But man, what was it? A knee to the head?
Yeah,
flying knee to the head on. Was that on Neil Pionk? I'm pretty sure that was Neil Pionk, right? Neil Pionk noted absolute rat. Excuse my language here, rat bastard when he plays the Leafs. Man, he's a very good player, but he gets under the skin of everybody. Cristian, man, how are you feeling after this week?
It was a tumultuous week, right? And like you said, if we did this podcast on Tuesday night, it's a totally different story. I won't totally gloss over the Coyotes game because, like I said, I had work that night, so I was just catching bits and pieces of it. It's more, I've got more opinions, I guess, on the stuff that happened after the game. Like, we know the Keefe comments, the elite players comments, and all the hoopla around those. Needless to say, I didn't really like the... 1 second here as I sneeze. It doesn't come. Okay. So
it's human vibe.
Anyways, so needless to say, didn't like the Marner quote. Not that I didn't like what Marner said. I just the whole scenario felt awkward and needless. Like, at least don't make. I don't know if Marner really should have came out and made his part of the story public in terms of the fact that he went to speak with Keefe after the comments. And for those that don't know, the comments were along the lines of the difference between Arizona Coyotes and the Toronto Maple Leafs is that the Toronto Maple Leafs have elite players and they didn't play elite. That in itself is just truth. Like, I don't think anybody's up to debate that quote, right?
Kiefer nailed that one on the head. Like, that's what it was. For 50 minutes, that's what it was.
So this is where I'd say, like, what he said there is a true statement. Let's just read it verbatim again. The Arizona Coyotes and the Toronto Maple Leafs, the difference between these two teams is one has elite players, the other doesn't. And the elite players didn't play elite. But, I mean, there is the rest of the team. There's the rest of the Toronto Maple Leafs, and I don't think they played good either. Like, I think I would just take that loss as a team loss, top to bottom. I don't know if there was a need to segregate one part of the roster from the rest because, once again, caught bits and pieces. But looking at the score sheet, it was the elite players that did find the score sheet, whether their effort was there or not. Without your elite players, Keefe, I mean, that's not even a 1-goal game. So I don't know. I didn't really. I understand the Keefe comments, and I also don't understand. Same with Marner. I get what he's saying, What do you got to say, Brian?
Can I
Interject,
interject
bud.
on that?
Yeah.
I think that the elite players, like, the onus is on them to like show up. It's just how it is, like with everything. Whenever, like, yes, top to bottom, you want your bottom contributors to contribute. You want your bottom players to do well as well. But like, it, I expect Ovechkin to score almost every single night. I expect Kuznetsov to do something every single night. You guys should expect the same. If they have a bad
Your
game, they have
goals
a bad
are
game. But
Marner and Nylander, though. Like, two of your goals are scored by Marner and Nylander. Are those not your elite players?
is
Like,
that like I didn't watch the game, right? I didn't keep up with the storyline either. The only thing I saw was the hand pass thing. But if they're scoring, then I don't know. I don't know. I didn't watch the game. I can't comment
it
on what
goes back to
happened.
the idea of like we said, the 55 minutes versus the last 5 minutes. It goes back to that, right? But I don't know. It was needless drama. And that's why Keith backtracked on his comments a couple days later, coming out and saying, I used the wrong words. Um, it was strictly about production at 5-on-5 on the power play. Like, it was two different quotes. Keith was comparing his original quote to something new. Like, it wasn't even the same thing.
Do you
So
not feel like you should be smashing Arizona like 7-0?
I do feel we should be, but there was even a quote from Adam Lowry last night against the Jets, and it was something to the effect of, "Guys, we know that the Leafs get the most media attention, so we get up for this game," and that goes for every team. I'm not gonna like give the Leafs a pass here that because every team gets up against you, you guys got to do this like whatever. But I mean, every team we talked about the Coyotes and the Bruins and whatever, right? Like the 19 game streak and all that stuff. For some reason, there's just stupid crap that happens between two teams where things only go one team's way. Right now, that seems to go the Coyotes' way. We have the highway robbery game last year. We've got this game this year. Whatever. We know what the Coyotes really are. It's not like they're showing us they're some crazy team. And we know what the Leafs can be. We saw against Dallas. We saw against Winnipeg. We haven't seen them even at their full fledged force. I would say either. Like the 4-1 win against Winnipeg is the first. I don't know. It might be the first it feels like the first multi goal win of
Yeah.
the year. Like first.
It's not even just that. It's first multi like goal win or loss. All the games have been
Yeah,
decided by one goal, right?
which is a good sign,
So
right? At least we've been in every game one way or another. So I'm not gonna go into the hand pass stuff. I think that's been covered. A lot of people like the rule is what the rule is.
It's a dumb
I don't
rule.
know,
Yeah, I
but
think
yeah,
we can all agree on that. But then again, just just uh just so I can get my real what I really think across for this. I think that it's 2 points, and it's still too early in the season. I don't think that 2 points will affect you guys that much. It sucks, it does, and I think that it just you guys have been known to like check out in the playoffs, or not have the best performances in the playoffs. I think that's just carrying over for now.
that's not good, Brian. Right?
It's
That's the theme for both the Leafs' losses this season is a familiar and predictable result against Montreal, your rivals, and against the Coyotes, a lowly team that people expect you to destroy. So we had predictable and bad results.
but
That's not
like
good, right? Like it's like our L's were against surprising teams, or like
but that's
we
why
don't
this.
want them to be the same
But
team,
my point
right?
is, it's too early to be concerned about that issue yet. Like you're gonna have bad games every once in a while. Like if this is happening in a playoff game,
but
game two, yeah, you have
Brian,
something to be concerned about. Yeah,
okay, but that is this regular season. We have seen losses like this against teams like Arizona, Buffalo in the past, who was finishing almost dead last. Last year, the Montreal Canadiens were 32nd team in the league. Who else was almost pretty poor over this Matthews stretch consistently? It's
Ottawa's
always Ottawa. Oh my God, I forgot about Ottawa. There were another team who
they're
every
gross now
time they
though.
played.
They're gross
No,
now
but
though.
every
Like
time, even when they didn't have those star talent players, they got up to play. Those are missed points. There was a stat on another big channel Leaf Homer fans podcast. I'm not going to say their name, not giving them any more free publicity. But I think Cristian, who I'm going to talk about here. They brought up a stat. In 2022, the Leafs have played 9 games against Arizona, Montreal, who finished 32nd in the league last year, let's not forget, and Buffalo. They played 9 games. How many wins did they get against those teams?
I'll say 3. I actually don't know the
Okay.
answer.
3. They got one win. One win in 9. 1-7-1, guys. 1-7-1. That's 3 points in 9 games. Okay, so listen, Brian. I get it 100%. I get it, and it's the same point I'm going to make here that I made in Vancouver for the Vancouver talk. Those points dropped last year. So I said 3 points. Okay, that's also going to be including the 2 games this year against Arizona and Montreal. So seven games last year, they won once. That's 14 possible points, and you walk out with 2. 12 points in the Atlantic Division. Separate like that. Those 12 points would have changed who Florida played in the playoffs and who we played in the playoffs. We would have finished ahead of Florida, basically, right? That's a president's winning type of gap right there. Those 12 points could mean second in the division, and we would have played you guys, Brian. Who knows how that goes? Who knows how that goes? And we have Battle of Florida, right? Like that would have been a cool series to watch as well. But listen, I get it 100%. My one point is,
dude, it's 2 points in October. I don't think it matters that much. You're blowing it out of proportion. It might be like
it's not the points, Brian.
In the past 10 years, that's what it is.
Brian, it is not the points factor.
It's the same core.
Brian, it is the fact that for 50 minutes, again, we have, and it's not the first. If it was the first time, Brian, 100%. But this game, there's at least 5 games every year where the Leafs didn't show up. They straight up didn't. They didn't play for at all. They played for 10 minutes in 60. Oh my God, this got a lot less press attention. But when Keefe came out and said there was a shift within 5 minutes of the game where they maintained possession in the Arizona zone for a minute and a half in Arizona zone. No shots on the net. They were just cycling possession. No chances, nothing. They had a couple block shots. But Keefe said that after that shift, he felt that it just lulled them to sleep. That is a problem. That's a problem, guys. Like, if you're not even generating chances on that type of shift and then you're going to check out after that, guys, like, you guys are getting paid. I don't care if you're getting paid $900,000 to play in this league or you're getting paid $11 million. That shouldn't be happening.
You do realize there are some power plays where you don't get any shots in the other team's zone the whole time, right?
Brian, that wasn't a power play type of thing. After that shift was done, they checked out. They thought, okay, this is going to be an easy 2 points. Arizona still stinks. Travis Boyd is first line center on the team. Listen, I love the Arizona Coyotes as much as the next person. I planted my flag in them making the playoffs this year. But guys, that is embarrassing. You guys aren't embarrassed? Like, come on.
Regardless, It's okay. You guys.
We'll move past that one. It just comes down.
You guys had a good week.
Yeah, it did end up. It ended up a lot better. This week could have went a whole lot worse, man. Oh my God, if those couple of wins didn't come through
yesterday, just because it's the start of a road trip, you want to get it off on the right foot, and we did very well at that. I'll give my shout outs to JT and Willie. Fantastic start to the season for both of those guys. I think JT's got 7 points in 6 games. Willie's got 6 in 6. They've been phenomenal, and it's hilarious considering all the talk last year, wire to wire, of these guys can't play together, they got no chemistry, and all of a sudden a new year starts and it's newfound chemistry. So props to those guys. Nick Robertson, didn't really notice him too much in the 2 periods that I did watch last night. So I hope he doesn't fall to the same fate as Dennis Malgin and Jimmy VC last year, where Jimmy VC comes, he scores a goal in game 1 and disappears. And Malgin, same thing this year, scores a goal in game 1, disappears. So we need Nicky Robbie to find ways to impact the game if it's not going to be on the score sheet every night, which is obviously fine because nobody impacts the score sheet every night unless your name's McDavid. So that's that's one thing there. Samsonov is now 4-0-0 to start his Leafs tenure. Dave, I don't know, did you see this stat that he's the first Leafs goaltender to do this since a guy named Frank McCool?
Ooh,
Let's see,
1950.
Frank
Definitely.
McCool in 1944-45, where
Of
Mr.
course.
Frank McCool went 6-0-0 to start his Leafs tenure. So
What a
this is
fascinating name. What a great name. Frank
that's an all-time
McCool.
hockey name. Frank
Yeah.
McCool. I'm so glad that I've been introduced to Frank McCool. Some other subplot storylines from the Leafs week. Going backtracking a little bit to that Dallas game there. Once again, I was playing my own hockey game, some men's league, so I didn't get to watch that Leaf game. But I opened the box score after the fact, took a look at the ice times, and something that stuck out to me was Engvall's ice time was down to 8 minutes. Like that's basically he was on fourth line duty at that point. And we saw last night he was scratched, right? Simmons and Clifford come in, Engvall and Nick Aubé-Kubel leave the lineup. So it's interesting there. It's little subplots I'm going to pay attention to. I think I saw a tweet that Engvall is going to be back in tomorrow, so he's been put through the ringer here, and it's been like that for basically his whole time here, where it feels like once or twice a year we go through the Engvall isn't good enough, he's going to be healthy scratch for a couple games thing where Keefe just rails into him, says he's going to be so much better, all this good stuff. It's weird, especially because like I had him earmarked as a trade, a potential trade target for other teams or someone that we could trade because he was an RFA and like you need to make cap space. It could have been a spot where you can inject at least some like new blood into the lineup. And Dubas and company decided, no, we're gonna stick with Engvall. We're gonna bring him back. And yet here we are in the same scenario as we've been in the past couple of years with Engvall, where I can only assume the expectation is, hey Pierre, can you just be Ilya Mikheyev? And if you can do that, that's cool. But that's not who he is. We know he's a good transition player. We know the finish isn't there. We saw Mikheyev get the finish last year. I don't really necessarily know if Engvall's going to bring the finish to his game this year, but I'm honestly just I've come to terms with what Engvall is as a player. Good transition player. Not all offense is gravy, but like he has a little bit of playmaking, but I'm not expecting it, right? So that was one little subplot there. Other than that, that's what I've got for the week there. We've obviously got this road trip coming up. Want to get a better look at Mete. Haven't been able to see what he's looked like in the top six. I haven't heard anything crazy, which is a good thing because you've got guys stepping into the top six. You don't want to hear anything about them. A quiet game is a good game. So on the Mete front, that's good. And yeah, that's what I've got for the week there. Actually, one more thing I'll bring up is the Muzzin injury, which is obviously really unfortunate, the neck injury. We heard Martin's comments on it about how it sounds like it's going to be a long-term thing. A lot of the insiders are saying that too. They haven't put him on LTIR yet. I'm assuming they won't until they have to for cap reasons. And the reason they are doing that is because you accrue daily cap space every day, actually. But now that I think about it, how it works is if you're not operating an LTIR, you accrue cap space every day. But if you're in the LTIR, that doesn't happen. And why this is relevant is come trade deadline, depending on how much cap space you've accrued, you can do different things. Obviously, you can take on bigger salaries. So there's something going on there, cap wrinkle wise. And yeah,
And we also
and
we also have a player in LTIR right now with a substantial salary in Matt Murray.
Yeah.
So maybe look in the next couple of weeks as Matt Murray's coming back. Maybe that transitions, and you got to think with Muzzin. Have we seen his last game as a Leaf? Like, or actually, not even as a Leaf in the NHL. Like, a lot of people do forget in the COVID bubble when he against Columbus, the playoff series, he had a neck. It was I believe they call it a stinger. It was another neck injury, neck related injury, and this seems to be another neck related injury. I don't know. Those are things you don't mess with, right? 2 concussions. Yeah.
He definitely has
History of.
Yeah, he definitely had like long and injury riddled career. But successful.
He's only 34, man. It's not like he's at the end. In terms of age, he could still play for another 4 or 5 years. Yeah.
At least.
But what I can say is that I still remember like all that time he spent on LA, just going far in the playoffs. Like that takes a toll on your body, you know? If you add it up, it's like an extra half a season of how far they went in terms of like, I don't know the exact number, but playoff games add up. And in that sense, it's like an extra season and a half, right? Of just
Yeah.
damage to your body. But you know what? He's a great player. I always liked him when he was on LA. I liked him a little bit on Toronto. He obviously fell off a bit the past 1-2 years, but I remember when you guys first got him, he was really, really good for you guys. And
He was.
We wish him the best, honestly.
also, speaking about wishing players the best, shout out Jake Verana. Hope things get better. Yeah, that's all I really want to say about that.
It's a fan favorite for Bryan right there.
Yes, that's one of my favorite players, and genuinely, I think that he'll figure it out eventually, and hopefully things get better for him, like I said. And are you guys done with the Leafs?
I think we got it covered.
Okay.
Yeah.
Something I just wanted to say. I think Matt Boldy is having a ridiculous season. Last season, he only played, I believe, 48 games, and he had 37 points or something like that. That's a .82 point per game ratio. Fantastic for your first season. He's off to a great start. 3 goals, 3 assists, I think, in 5 games, which is amazing. He's on track to be over a point per game season. I'm a big Boldy guy. I think that that whole U.S. team was fantastic, and it's glad to see another one of those guys come up. Do I think he's going to win MVP? No. Do I think that this point streak is sustainable? No. But I think that he's doing fantastic, and hopefully he becomes a 90-point getter in the future. I can definitely see that happening. Even 100, with the way that scoring has been going up, he can definitely crack into 100. But I know the boys don't have a lot to say about that, so we'll go into whatever they want to go into next.
Well, I guess I don't know, Christian. If you have anything to say, we could go into a specific event that happened this past week in the NHL.
No. Cristian has a list of stuff that.
I've got
yeah.
stuff. You know,
You got
it's along the same lines as Bryan. So before we get into what we all want to talk about, I'll hit you guys with some stuff right now. First question I got for you guys is, who's the leading scorer in the NHL right now? Who has the most points in the NHL?
Oh, I was just looking at this the other day.
Brian's
looking. I just saw Bryan go open up.
I think it's a.
Yeah, that's cheating.
I'm gonna say Panarin.
Okay, Dave, you got a guess?
Is it a saber? Is it like an Alex Tuck?
You're gonna say Tage Thompson because that was your prediction.
No, that would be hilarious, but it's not Tage Thompson. You would have heard me talk about this the past couple episodes if he was like lighting it up. But Bryan, I'll give you half points because Panarin is tied for the lead. He has 11 points. The other player with 11 points is Valeri Nichushkin.
Okay.
This guy,
Choo-choo train.
Choo-choo train has 11 points, 5 goals, 6 assists. So I was looking at this, 6 goals, 5 assists. So I was looking at this morning, and I'm like, I did not expect that. So that was one little thing there I had to bring up. And then I was just looking at the NHL stats as well, just seeing what players are doing well. And Danton Heinen on Pittsburgh, he's off to a fire start. 5 games played, 3 goals, 3 assists for 6 points. Danton Heinen, right behind Crosby in Pittsburgh scoring. AJ Greer for the Bruins, I swear this guy was on a PTO or whatever. He's got 5 points in 5 games as well. And then Leafs are going to see this guy on Monday, possibly, Logan Thompson of the Vegas Golden Knights, who I actually thought could do decent for them in the starting role. He had pretty good stats last year when he had to come in for relief for Lehner because of injury. He's got 4 games played, 2-2 record, but .926 save percentage. Last thing I'll bring up here. Actually, I got one more.
Can I guess? Can I guess what you're
You don't. I don't think you know what it is, man. I don't think you know what it is. I've got 2 things. So
I'm gonna guess that it's gonna be about Dallin.
It's not about Dallin. I'll leave it to Dave. Dave can gloat in the sun about that, so he can bring that up. So I've got 4 players here. I'm gonna tell you these players, and you're gonna tell me what these players have in common. Okay. Player number 1, Oli Mata. Player number 2, Sam Lafferty. Player number 3, Gabe Velarde. And player number 4, Marcus Johansson. What do these 4 players have in common?
They all play in the Metro. No, not Gabe Velarde. He plays in the Pacific.
I don't know. They were born on October 31st. I have no idea.
Brian's going after their star signs right now. They're all Scorpios.
I actually have no idea what this could be.
They're
These
all
are random players.
Yeah. So the answer is those 4 players are either tied or lead their team in scoring right now.
Marcus
Yeah.
Johansson's leading
Yeah,
the
man.
team? I didn't
Marcus
know that.
Johansson. Now, let's be clear. Marcus
Only
Johansson.
Mata leads the team in scoring?
So,
Are you
Marcus
kidding me?
Johansson, 5 points in 6 games. He's in a four-way tie with Ovechkin, Carlson, and someone else. So, like I said, leading or tying for
Fair.
points on their respective teams. Sam Lafferty has 5 points in 4 games on the Chicago Blackhawks. If you guys know how many
I
points
mean,
Patrick Kane has in 4 games,
0.
one. I know that one. He has one.
1 assist. Patrick Kane has 1 assist to start the year. Here's
That
another
was
player.
in the opening game.
Roman Yossi, 7 games played, only 1 point. This is the former, 94, 96 point getter last year as a defenseman. Off to a really slow start. 1 point in 7 games. And yeah, so Oli Mata, 4 games played, 5 points for the Detroit Red Wings. Like, known offensive defenseman, Oli Mata, right? So,
I actually thought
I'll put that in.
Mata was like very, very decent, like very decent when he in like 16, 17,
In
like in that era
Pittsburgh,
in Pittsburgh.
yeah.
But then he fell off a cliff, and then
I thought he was still there.
I'm glad that he's doing well. I mean, not like doing well off Pittsburgh. That's what I'm trying to say. But regardless, let's open the Tim's packs. Dave, hit him with the stat totals from last week.
Oh, okay. So we'll start with that. So last week we opened up our packs. So I'll just read them all quickly. So Cristian had John Carlson, Jason Robertson, and Brad Marchand. So unfortunately, Marchand couldn't is on the IR, so he didn't have any games played. So
He had
in
two
the
guys
three
played, and
games
I still
played,
lost.
he had 3 guys playing this week, and he ended up with 3 goals and 5 assists in the 3 games between those 3 players, giving him 8 points. Bryan had 3 goals and 1 assist through Andrew Mangiapane, John Tavares, and Patty Kane. As we mentioned before, 1 point that came in his opening game, so he got no points this week at all.
I have 2
Zero.
Hall of Famers in my lineup, and I still didn't win.
Big goose egg. And I reigned supreme. I had Brady Tkachuk, Jason Robertson, like Cristian, and a Gibney Malkin. And I finished this week with 6 goals, 7 assists for 13 points in 3 games, which, listen, I don't want to brag here, guys, but
What's
that's
up,
a
buddy?
lot.
Good stuff.
Thank you.
Alright, Dave, open up Christian's pack.
All right, so Cristian was unfortunately not able to get a pack for today, so I've got 2 packs here. So Cristian, left or right, you pick on the screen. I don't know how we're gonna do this.
Left. I want on your left.
My left. So this one?
Yes.
Okay. Sounds good.
What's it gonna be? What's it gonna be?
Give me Travis
we're
Boyd.
good.
Travis Boyd.
Imagine.
Watch it be the
Rasmus Dali.
watch it be the
Hey.
Hyundai Ioniq 5 or a new PlayStation 5.
Bro.
Cristian, this is a nice card. I'm not even gonna lie. Former
Hey.
first overall pick, Alexis Lafreniere.
Okay. That's a nice card, Dave. Yeah.
Soup! Cristian got our first goalie of the pack opening. So we decided how we were going to do it is 2 points for a win, 3 points for a shutout, so an extra point for the shutout. I think that's fair enough. I think we all agreed on that.
Yeah, that's fine.
And Christian's last player is Kyle Connor.
That's a good
So,
pick. That's a good pick.
Looking for the Jets to pick it up after their unfortunate loss to the Leafs, and maybe Cristian could get back into the lead over here with that pick. Those are a couple good pulls right there, Cristian.
I'll take
Bryan, you want to take yours?
Yes, this will likely also be the last time we open Tim's packs because they stop production in a week or something, or not production. They stop distribution.
We're gonna buy them. I'll buy
the
like
whole
10
kit, buy
packs.
the whole set.
We'll keep going for like weeks.
Okay, I'll open up my pack now. It's kind of awkward opening up closer to the camera like that.
If any higher ups from Tim are watching,
packs, okay? Not 82 packs. We're gonna buy like 25 packs, and we'll just have them set for the whole year, okay?
yeah, 100%. If anybody from Tim Hortons is watching from the higher ups, please send over the leftover packs to us. We'll take them.
All right, boys. I got the hottest goalie in the league right now, Carter Hart.
I thought it was Ilya
Samsonov. Excuse me.
I got Dylan Cousins.
Okay.
And that's okay. But then I got the best player in the world, Connor McDavid.
Connor McDavid.
Yeah.
Oh,
Ready for like I don't know, like Radko Gudas or something, man. What the
Oh,
hell?
it's gonna
I'll
be
take it.
starts with Jacob Bryan.
Oh, hey, too
Oh,
soon, too soon.
sorry,
That's tough,
Brian.
man.
Sorry,
That's
Brian.
also not good for
Oh,
PR.
I thought that's your personal best player in the world.
Yeah, he's definitely up there, but Connor McDavid's not bad either for this.
He's a
Yeah,
he's a
damn, that is a real good pull. Brian, if Connor McDavid has a typical week for him, you honestly might have just won by default. I'm
How
not
much
gonna
is the
lie to
value
you
of this
here.
card?
of what
Ah,
card?
man,
The Connor McDavid one. It's the
is it a
Spectrum.
special one or is it a base?
It's a
Bucks.
special one.
Let me see it again.
Here, Spectrum something.
Yeah, okay. I actually don't know, but it's probably like I will guess like $10. I'm pretty sure there's a website.
Yeah, I'm checking that right now.
Yeah,
All
there's
right, guys.
a site that buys them.
So
Dave's looking.
I did see. I I could just see like,
$8.
but the cards are upside down right now for me. But like, I just got name on the first card. I got a goalie myself. Might just be the best goalie in the league right now, Andrei Vasilevsky.
Not too
So
bad.
I thought you were gonna say
we're gonna cheer.
Samsonov. That's funny.
Could you imagine?
And I saw the blue
So
too.
we're gonna be. Yeah, it's a really nice. Oh man, this is a nice card too. We also got future potential Ottawa Senators captain, if depending on what Brady Tkachuk decides to do. We've got Thomas Chabot, and finally, Mr. Golden Goal, Mr. Two-time Stanley Cup champion, Sid the Kid, baby.
Bro, for a
So
second,
we're
you. I'm like, what?
oh no, wait, Mr. Golden Goal.
No. I'm looking at the card. I was like, is that Mario Lemieux? Like, it
Oh,
just
I know. Oh my God, it looks
that's
a
the same.
lot like it too,
You know what it
especially
is?
like in the thing.
You know what it is? It's
It's
also
the design.
yeah, but
Mm.
this is actually perfect. I love that Pittsburgh jersey as much as I hate to admit it as a Caps fan. What else can we talk about today, guys?
With the lettuce? Oh, if we're gonna talk about jerseys, okay. So before we end that, so stay tuned next week when we find out who comes out on top again. I'm having a good feeling about mine, but everybody else's picks are looking pretty dangerous. So we might have a real hotly contested Tim's pack run this week, guys. So we'll keep everybody posted on that for next episode. And I guess on that note, we might get into our potential last topic here. It's a topic that everybody's kind of been talking about now for the past couple of years. Brian, you want to take this away?
Yeah, the NHL released what the reverse retros were gonna be and what they're gonna look like. They will be available on November 15th. You can grab yours, or at least attempt to grab it, because they're gonna sell like hotcakes at NHLShop.ca or NHLShop.com. Link in the bio or link in the description below. Yeah. All right. So the reverse retro 2s are out. That's why I'm reading my reverse retro 1 over here in support of my team, who has the best reverse retro.
Man, there
Genuinely, we have the
might
best
not
one.
be a debate there.
I think
No
that
bias whatsoever.
no bias whatsoever. Genuinely, we have the best one. I'm not a fan of the ones that came out. I think that the league could have done a better job with designing them. I will be grabbing the Capitals one because I don't know, I always end up with it somehow. But any other team I'm not really interested in. I'll be honest with you guys. I'm not a fan of what they released. Last release was much better. All right, guys, we are back. I apologize for technical issues. We had an issue with our recording software, but we're gonna get right into it with our top, or actually we'll go with bottom 3 reverse retros. So the worst reverse retro I think is Boston. Not a fan of it. I think that if you're gonna do a bear, just might as well use Hershey's kits if you're not gonna use the classic B. And I don't like Columbus. They're definitely bottom 3 for me too. I forgot to mention, we all had consensus across all of us that Detroit, Chicago were the 2 worst, so they would not be counting. But yeah. Anyway, going back to Columbus, I think that the shirt itself is just simply ugly. And my last bottom 3 is the Rangers. I'm not a fan of the logo they chose. I think that the Rangers should always be using the diagonal words down. That is the way to do it with the Rangers because it's simply timeless. and whatever logo they have there with the Statue of Liberty is just not it. I know these guys disagree with me.
What do
Brian
you think?
hates freedom.
What do you think about the shield logo for the Rangers? Do you like that one or no?
I think it's
Like the,
classic. I think it's timeless. I think that it's on the equivalency of like the Blackhawks logo of the Red Wings logo in terms of heritage, but I don't like it particularly. I'm not a. I think that the Rangers look best when they have the diagonal stripped down, and they should just play around with that instead.
honestly, for me, I prefer the shield logo, Lady Liberty, and then for me, the diagonals last. Honestly, I know it's
Hot take.
sacrilege. Yeah, so well, you'll see what I think about the Rangers jerseys later, but that's the one I've got a problem with out of those three.
When Pittsburgh did the diagonal Pittsburgh across, I loved it. I think that we should have something similar in Washington. I think that we should have like Capitals down, like Washington down diagonal. I think that would look fantastic, and I'd have to be all over it. But Dave, go into your bottom three.
Okay, yeah. So that one thing I did want to mention with the Jackets was they could have done so much better. We mentioned it during the stream difficulties. Thank God we caught it quick. They have a couple of different things that
Cannons
it's just another year where the Jackets just kind of fumbled the bag. Like you guys have some real cool alternate logos that you guys could have used on the front. The jacket, the bug, their mascot, and the cannon, and the old school CBJ logo. That reminds me of like RJ Umberger on the team.
Could you imagine if they had
Those types of.
like a little bug on the jersey as the main logo? That'd actually be pretty cool. They would have to change the color scheme, but like I'm thinking like Sarnia, like Sarnia has some pretty
Just
nice.
anything else.
Yeah.
Don't be boring. Don't be boring. That's basically it. They're just boring. They're not ugly, but they're boring. Or maybe they're ugly, but they're boring. Um, so I guess I could get into my bottom three. I think personally, worst. I know a lot of people will not like this take here. The Predators jersey is ugly. Listen, they normally use that yellow, but this is like a kind of mustard yellow. It's a bit darker, and they're methed up saber-tooth predator on the front. Why? What are we using ugly logos for? I get it. It was a part of like their original jersey, stuff like that. It looks ugly. So that's the Preds. Next, we have it's a toss-up for me, but I'm gonna go with the Jets here. The Winnipeg Jets.
Really?
They
I don't
don't
know, man.
stand out. They don't stand out, guys. Add some red to that thing, and that thing looks. It's all designed beautifully, nice. Like okay, if they're fine on the color scheme, but it's just so bland. And I have the same problem with the Stars as well. They're just bland. Thank God they got away from their highlighter green, so I'll give them points for that. That's why they're not making this list. We'll get into the Jets
You're gonna
after.
knock points
What?
off the Jets for not having a little bit of red, dude. It's fantastic. That's one of the nicest shirts of.
It just for me, it's just like a little bit too like basic. I don't know. That's my opinion.
But bottom five is
And
that's rough, man. Like that's like
yeah,
disrespectful.
listen. Next time, don't go after the Leafs in the regular season. I don't know. That doesn't come into play. And my final pick is the Avs. They went from potential top tier jerseys in the first one, and they went down quite a bit. I don't have this other team in my top like when we discuss it, but the New Jersey Devils did your own original team's colors better than you did. Like if another two teams that were gonna copy homework here, the Devils absolutely blew the Avalanche out of the water with their state flag insignia on the front. Like they have so many jerseys like that already. I could count 3 of them in the past 10 years that they've worn the state flag on. Like, come on, guys, think of something else. Could have used the Colorado Rockies thing, something, literally anything else other than the state flag. That's just my opinion.
I like it when Colorado does the Nordiques. That's when they're best, I think.
Hey, maybe they could have done that.
I like the Nordiques, but like for me, it's almost like
Overdone.
keep this Nordiques logo for when the Nordiques come back. You know, like
Yeah.
Mm. That's coming.
I don't know. I actually, I was like, you're maybe my top 10, honestly. Like, if we had to do like the whole rankings, like, I liked the abs. I like the color scheme. They kept the original, not original, but they kept the current striping pattern with the mountain at the bottom and the sleeving. I like that shape of the jersey. So I honestly, that was one of the ones I liked. The Jets one, pretty meh on. I like the color scheme. It is a little bland, but to the point about the red ones, like they've done that jersey with red, and they've done it when it's we saw it against the Leafs where they wore the dark blues with the red accent. Like they could make that their full time kit. I don't know why they don't just go full time to those kits. So yeah, that's what I got on those ones
I
there.
like the Jets one a lot. Actually, now that
It,
I look
it's
at it.
more than that for me. Dave is right that it is bland. If you want to if you want to get rid of points for being bland, you can. My bottom three. I'll start with what I think is the least bad of these three, and I already know that it's going to be controversial, but it's the Ducks one, that Anaheim
What?
Ducks one. Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. But it comes down to one thing with the Ducks one. I hate their current color scheme. If there's any team in the league that is in dire need of a rebrand, it's the Ducks. And I just hate the orange, gold, and white color scheme. I'm not a fan of it at all. I think it was their last reverse retros. I think they did like the flying duck one. But that color scheme, the jade and eggplant, that's awesome. I love that. Go back to that. Go back to the Mighty Ducks logo. Like I just get rid of the gold, orange, and white. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. The actual design of jersey is good, but I hate that color scheme. From there, this is another one. The Islanders one, man. I don't like the Islanders one either. I know everyone's, yeah, I know, I know. I don't like the Islanders one because like they got rid of the teal. Lou Lamoriello, like I'm just imagine. You have the designers of the jerseys. Like we're gonna bring back the fisherman jersey. It's gonna be great. It's like teal. It's got orange, a little bit of dark blue. They're like Lamoriello, look at the jersey we made. And he's like, get rid of all the damn teal. That's what this jersey is. They got rid of all the damn teal. That was the fun of the jersey, and it's gone. And you're just left with these half-assed waves at the top. They're just like kind of sort of waves. On the real one, they're exaggerated waves, man. So I think they took all the fun out of it. Like everyone was clamoring. These could have been a home run, and they screwed it up. They screwed it up. So I don't know if it's going to be controversial. This one I don't know how controversial it's going to be, but the St. Louis Blues one, to the
Not a
Dave's
fan of
point
it either.
about Preds ones, like you could put this design on like a ketchup bottle or not ketchup, mustard bottle, and like tell me that it's a brand. Yeah, St. Louis. You buy St. Louis Blues mustard? Yeah, yeah, it's my favorite brand of mustard. Like that's what that jersey looks like. Like
They compete with French's.
yes, exactly. You could go head to head. It's way too old timey. Way too old timey for my liking. So yeah, those are my bottom three. Brian, you want to bring us to the top three now?
Yeah. Um, Caps. I think that we have the best one. I
Once
probably
again,
believe.
no
Pardon me?
bias whatsoever.
No bias, no bias. I genuinely think that the shirt itself looks gorgeous. We did the. I was just wearing it before the technical difficulties. I took it off because like it's 20 degrees and like I don't have air conditioning on right now, and it was getting a little bit too hot for me. But we did it in red, and it's stunning. But it was just missing that little bit of like extra retro, like a little bit of extra classic. It was a new take on something that was old. I'm glad that we went back to the roots with the black streaming eagle with gold and with that color scheme. I'm probably gonna end up getting it. I'll be honest with you guys. I think it looks beautiful. My number two, I'm gonna give it to the Coyotes. Actually, I really like the Coyotes. They had the second best one last time with with the purple Kachina head thing. But I like the desert look of this one. It's kind of like they had like a nighttime vibe with last time with the purple, and they kind of like they have daytime with this one, or like a desert vibe. I'm a fan, and I can definitely see people grabbing this one, like how they grabbed last one. And number three, I'm gonna give it to Tampa. I really like the way that Tampa kind of did it with this iteration of the reverse retros. The logo looks stunning. I like the font. I know it's a little bit tacky, but it's fun, and I think that's what this reverse retro incorporates: having fun and looking good on the ice.
Yeah, those are all really good picks, Brian. I can't fault you for any of them. You know what, man? Sneakily underrated. I don't have them in my top, but they are starting to grow on me, man. Tampa, they really did embrace like the creativity and the fun that you're supposed to have with these. So I will give them points on
The
that. They're
logo
not
is
going to make
stunning.
my top.
The logo
Yeah,
is
yeah, fair enough.
stunning, man. It's very very good. I think they did a great job with that one. Dave, hit
I
us with
would,
your
yeah.
top. You would agree?
I'm just gonna say like it's aggressively 90s, especially that font.
Oh yeah.
Aggressive, man. Like that font is screaming at you. I will say that I definitely preferred Tampa's original reverse retro. That was in my probably my top three last time around. I love that one. Like if there was a jersey I had to buy out of the reverse retro crop, it might have been that one from the 1.0s. The other teams, their caps. I don't have anything bad to say about the caps, but honestly, that's a good one. I do like that one. That's probably in my top 10 as well. The other one there, Arizona, kind of met on it as well. A little too monotone. I do like a little bit more contrast, but it is unique, so they get a couple bonus points for being unique.
Okay, go.
Okay, so I guess I'll kick off my top three. So to start off, we have undoubtedly one of the best jerseys to come out in a long time here, and I'm very surprised none of you guys have really even talked about it. But those Florida Panthers jerseys,
No.
mwah! Oh, chef's kiss. I absolutely love the aesthetic that they're going with. It also reminds me of in the NBA with the Miami Heat, their city jerseys were Miami
Those are
Vice
stunning.
theme. Those are absolutely beautiful, stunning. I love those colors. Those like light shades. That's what Florida's all about, guys. Like that. Oh my god! And the logo. Okay, I know a lot of people have a problem with the logo because that was their arm patch, or it is their arm patch. It could still be. I forget. Um, maybe if you want to change that out for the current logo, or maybe the old school Panther that they used to have. But those colors just go together like masterful work that they did for that jersey. My second, I'm not going to spend too much time on this. It's the Caps. If there's going to be another besides Florida, if there's like other than the Leafs, if I'm gonna go out and buy a jersey, I'm definitely gonna consider getting an Ovechkin Caps jersey. I like the way that they blended the two eras, the Screaming Eagle with the DC. What's that building called? The Capitol building. I like how like they kind of blended those two eras together. Some teams tried to blend, didn't go so well. See the Ottawa Senators for that. Um, and my final pick is the Pittsburgh Penguins. I love the Robo pen that they call them, those 90s
Oh
pens.
yes.
It's like, it's almost like if Sidney Crosby came back as Mario Lemieux and Malkin came back as Jaromir Jagr. And that's what it's going to look like every time that they play this year. Those things, you just can't go wrong with those jerseys. One honorable mention I have to say, we did mention this leak on our last podcast about the Habs bringing back the Expos colors. Those things would have been even better if they had included just a little bit of red. I don't know what all these Canadian teams is with not including red on their logo or on their jerseys. Like, it's a Montreal Canadiens jersey and it doesn't have any red. I get it. It's supposed to be reversed colors, but man, even just a little bit of red, like I would say literally beside their logo to have red sash, like it looks like a sash going around, you would look like Bonhomme de Neige in blue. Like that's what it would look like, basically. Like if you had included just a little bit of red, that thing would have easily jumped into my top three. I don't know who they would have replaced, but it would have definitely jumped into my top three 100%.
Well, those are in my top three. So yeah, those
Okay.
are definitely there. I like them. I don't know about the red. Like I get it. Incorporating the red would have been cool. My only pet peeve with them is the color. They go with the thick color where it's the dark blue on the light blue. I would have just preferred no dark blue. Just go full light blue on the collar and then maybe like the white trim and that's it. So I don't like. I don't really like when teams go with a full collar. It kind of looks like they're wearing like a bib or something. I don't know. I don't really like that look. But everything else about the jersey, love, love, love it. Other than the Habs jersey, I do have the Rangers jersey that Brian hates. I love that jersey. If I randomly was walking in New York and came across that jersey, damn it, I might buy it. I might freaking buy it. I don't know who I'd get on it, but I love that blue. That's a beautiful blue.
You guys,
And
you
what's
guys,
up? What's up?
you guys like that era, like the White House. Sorry, not the White House. The Statue of Liberty logo, and you like the Penguins logo. Like you guys like that era. I'm not a fan
Reminds
of
me
the
of
logo.
freedom.
It's not even, bro. Like I don't. It's the color. That blue is beautiful, and the striping is nice. Like I said, it could have been the shield pressed for the Rangers. I like that one too. That would have been fine with me. It's just the whole combination. The dark blue, the light blue, and the red is beautiful. Love it. Stunning. 13 is the LA Kings. Beautiful jerseys as well. They go with the Laker color scheme, purple, yellow, white, the beautiful crown. 10 out of 10 jerseys there. Striping is nice too. It's kind of got like the Flyers theme where it's straight on the shoulder and then it comes down and it kind of waves out like the Flyers jerseys do. But I love those Kings jerseys. And I think we got to at least mention the Leafs ones. Just let's talk about them. I mean, the bar was very low considering the first reverse retro, and thank God they were able to go over it. When I've looked at rankings from other websites, whatever, I don't know how. Like I've seen the Leafs twice at 32 out of 32. I don't understand it. I know it's weird.
No,
There's
no.
history behind what they chose, right? It is the 1962-63 Leaf jersey, just reversed. They wore that exact color scheme reversed in 62-63 as their away jersey, so white, blue on white. Now we got white on blue. The leaf is beautiful there. You got the furry leaf of the 60s. Love it, love it, love it. That orange, it's on all the reverse retros, but the orange NHL shield, those should have been on all of them. Those should have been on the other reverse retros as well.
Change it back. Change the logo back.
Change the logo
Let's
back.
bring back the orange.
Honestly, no,
I'm okay with that.
yeah, it's really nice. I'm gonna be buying that Leafs jersey. I don't have any problems with it whatsoever. I think it's a really nice, timeless look, classic look. I gotta figure out who I'm gonna get on the jersey. Me and Dave, we go back and forth. We're discussing. I don't know. I'm kind of leaning now on a Riley jersey there. I don't know. I feel like that jersey is a Riley vibe. 'Cause I've got the Bieber jersey as well, and now I'm kind of feeling that that's like a Nylander vibe, and I go with the Riley vibe for this one. What do you got to say, Dave?
Leave your comments down below on who me and Christian should get. Like, who do you think like we would vibe with them best? I'll take any opinions. Give me anybody on the team, and you know what? I'll open that. Like, if you have a suggestion, tell it to me. I'll get them pressed on. I don't care who it is.
If well, I do care who I get on my Capitals one. I'll let you guys pick Carlson or Oshie. Those are two guys that I've always wanted on the back of his shirt for a while. And
Brooks Orpik.
pardon?
Brooks Orpik.
Oh yeah, that's who I'm gonna get on this one.
Ilya Samsonov.
Not on this one. Maybe I'm on the least one I have. But on a serious note, I've wanted Carlson or Oshie on the back of his shirt for a while, and I think it's time for me to finally do it with one of these. They're both American, Screaming Eagle, right? But yeah, no. This time I feel like the reverse retros didn't hit as hard as the last time. If you compare the batch by batch, I take batch one all day. You guys agree?
I would say, yeah, but I'm not that, like, it's not that much of a difference for me. I wouldn't be mad if I had to go with these 2.0s over the 1.0s, but slight advantage to the 1.0s for me.
I mean,
Yeah, for me, I think. Sorry, Brian. I think for me, like, there's some absolute stinkers on both of them. But there's a couple like good keepers, 100% good additions. Like I mentioned, I think I mentioned before. It's a real tough pick. I'm not gonna lie to you. Jersey for jersey, I'm not too sure who. I'd actually have to do like maybe that's a potential article that we could look into is like ranking, maybe comparing and contrasting each team's iteration, seeing who comes out on top, and then at the end, whoever has the most points would by a point win this mini competition that
based
we've
off the
got
top of
going
my
on.
head, I think the Caps, no bias, are the only two. Is like the only team that has hit the nail on the head twice.
They're not the only team. There's no chance.
I-
Minnesota, easy.
I mean, It
Yes,
depends what you think, right?
Okay, yeah,
Like,
Minnesota too. Yeah, Minnesota too.
you're right though, Dave. It's very subjective, 100%.
that definitely makes it a lot better. Like, it makes it like if we all had like three very like
Similar.
we okay. I mean, we agreed that Detroit and the Hawks, and I think a lot of people
Awful.
agreed with that. So awful. But our bottom three and our top three show a lot of like parity, which the NHL loves. That's what they love: parity amongst all 32 teams,
Oh yeah,
except for the ones that are dead last. So it's a real interesting conversation to have.
definitely article ideas in the future regarding the reverse retros. Um, is there anyone that you guys like are looking to grab besides like your own team, besides like Leafs, obviously? Like
Rangers.
Rangers, genuinely,
Rangers. Not like I said, if I genuinely just stumbled across it, I would consider it.
but you're not gonna go
That's
out of your way and wait in line for it or like online shops or whatever.
no, no.
How about you, Dave?
For me it's probably Florida.
Really?
I forgot to say,
Yeah.
Dave, those jerseys remind me of, man.
What?
Sasha Markov, you can't go wrong there. You know what they remind me of is if you've seen
What?
any promotional art for NHL 23, where it's
Yeah, yeah.
Zegras and Sarah Nurse, like I sort of
Yeah.
like on Miami Beach. Right?
Yeah.
That jersey is that promotional art. That's what it is.
Mhm.
I don't mean that in a bad way. It's a nice jersey. It's a
It is. Yeah.
casual people who aren't necessarily hockey fans are gonna buy that jersey, which is good for
Well,
hockey.
that's what's it's targeted for that, right? Like you bring the history in, but you also want new people coming in and
Yeah.
like, wow, what's that jersey? Like, you find that Florida jersey at at your nearest Adidas store. Or on NHLShop.com or .ca, wherever you decide to go, but use our affiliate links, which are going to be down below. Little marketing right there. If you find that, if you see that in the store, a lot of people are like, wow, like, that, it's something different. Same thing with the caps, like that black look. It's a look that's going on like across all sports. Everybody has that like dark black look, and it's very like it's kind of menacing, honestly. Like it's expressive, and jerseys are meant to be expressive, and a lot of them are pretty expressive, except for the ones that are kind of bland.
If
The Jets, I'm looking at you there.
if I if I'm being honest, I'm definitely gonna grab the Caps. I think that's a given. But I don't think I'm considering grabbing any other team this time around. I know last time I considered the Coyotes. I really wanted the purple. I know Dave really wanted those too, but I'm looking at the batch right now. Maybe Tampa, but then again, you know,
The problem is when are you wearing like
yeah, when I
you
wear
can't
it,
fit casually, right? Like I feel like the Florida one you could make a whole fit based on that. That Tampa one is chaos, bro. Chaos.
yes. And
Yeah.
just looking at a lot of them, maybe I really like the Coyotes logo, the one that like the Kachina head. Maybe I'll get like a sweater, like a shirt with the Kachina head on it. But I really wish they
Mm.
brought back the purple. Like, wow,
I'm really hoping we get a ton of cool hats from this as well. Like I've become a
Mm.
hat guy now. So 47 brand, give me the reverse retro logos on hats, and I'll probably buy a bunch of them. Like
Mm.
I have a St. Louis
Oh
Blues
yeah.
hat, absolutely no reason, just because I'm like, yeah, and a Cardinals hat. I don't know why, but they just look nice. 47 brand, if you want my money, give me some reverse retro hats, and it's yours.
I want a 47 brand.
Or sponsor us.
Yeah, that's it. We need a title sponsor. So if you guys wanna, if you guys wanna do that, we'll take free hats as payment. Regardless, if the 47 brand came out with like the Screaming Eagle, I'd be all over that. The problem is they have the Wordmark logo, and I already have too much stuff with the Wordmark logo.
I'll
Even the
keep an eye
Ducky,
out for
even
I'll
the
keep
Ducky
an eye out.
Eagle, like I have too much stuff with that on it. Like we need more Screaming Eagle. Like that's probably our best logo.
Fair
Also,
enough.
um, I don't want to go too deep into this, but I really don't like Carolinas. Like, I don't know, man.
Yeah, I
They
think
dropped the ball.
this. Yeah,
They should have stuck to Whalers. They should just completely rebrand to Whalers. Not rebrand, obviously, because like it's done. Whatever. They have no connection with that anymore. But they really should. Like the Whalers logo is so nice, but I wanted to see a reverse retro with like the whale, like the chubby whale. I don't know what's called. Like there's a whale and then there's ERS at the end. Oh, fantastic logo, and they should have done something with that.
47 brand has a hat with that logo, Brian. I do
Actually,
know that. Yeah, man.
I might
Blue,
grab it then.
green.
Actually, I'm a big fan of that logo. But going back to Florida, I just wanted to say this as well. I don't like the palm tree logo. I like the actual shirt. I think it's
Yeah,
beautiful, but the palm tree and the stick is just kind of like weird. I don't know.
I know a lot of people had problems. A lot of people because that's a shoulder patch, right? So at the end of the day, you got to take that into consideration. It doesn't always translate as well for a lot of teams. And maybe it doesn't
Like
translate as well for Florida, but I think the rest of the jersey just redeems it for me.
like we
So
can
that's why I put them so high.
the rest of the jersey is stunning. But like for example with the shoulder patches can work, right? Like you said, like we have the shoulder patch here of the White House on the reverse retro, the one. Like we can see that on reverse retro 3 for all we know, and it'd be okay. You know?
Yeah, Adidas, send in your next batch to us. We'll rank them for you. We'd also like a title sponsor. So Adidas, man, like if you want to reach out, we'll promote you all the time.
We'll take
I'll
payment
take
in
all
t-shirts,
32 jerseys.
especially if you can remake me.
Disregard
Especially,
disregard everything we said in the bottom. I love Detroit.
especially I love Chicago too, and I'll take payment in purple reverse retro Coyotes. That'd be nice. If you think that's all? You think is that everything you guys wanted to say with the reverse retros?
I think we got it all, man. We'll talk more about them during the season as we start seeing them on the ice with the full kits, right? We don't necessarily know what every team's full kit looks like: socks, pants, gloves, helmet, and that can probably sway our opinions. So who knows? Maybe later one of these episodes we can kind of revisit them and see if anything, if seeing them on the ice changed our mind in any way.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely going to be a topic for discussion for the rest of the year. I mean, every team is going to be wearing them across the year as we go on. Um, Obviously, I'm gonna end it here, guys. I think that's good. But in regards to the rest and us ending the pod, make sure you guys check out our links, our affiliate links at the bottom. Reverse retros come out November 15th. Please, if you guys are gonna buy reverse retro, use our link. Also, make sure that you guys are there fast because they will sell, especially like the ones that you figure are gonna sell quickly. Also,
Toronto.
Toronto, I doubt
Um,
it. You think that's
No.
gonna sell? I think it's gonna sit on
It, was-
the. I think it's
it
gonna.
just that by default, it's gonna sell.
But last time they didn't sell out. No, they like sat on
Last
shelves.
time they were ugly, man. Last time they were bad.
That's true.
Not a lot of people really like them, so
Do you guys know if the Drew sold out?
Oh, 100%. 100%.
Did you guys?
I bought them at Pro Hockey Life, uh, and they were like there was very very few at that time, and that was like a week after that they were out,
Did you guys
so
have?
they might have sold out.
Did you guys have to
Very.
like? Did you guys have to snipe one? Like, did you guys have to like check multiple places for it?
No,
Oh,
not for
I,
me.
I would have had to go downtown if I didn't get it the way that I did, where I work, somebody returned it, and it just happened to be my size. So like, thank
beautiful.
you. That's mine now. Or else I was prepared to go to Maple Leaf Square literally the next day. So
Anyway, yeah, let's end it here. Use our links at the bottom. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. I haven't ever said that one. Subscribe to Dave's TikTok. He's coming out with really good content. It's clips from the podcast, but he's also coming out with some other fun stuff. Check out our articles, and yeah, stay tuned for next episode, I guess. And we'll end it there. Bye.